Welcome, everybody. Hi. It's so nice to see you all. I have to click on gallery to see you all. Hi. So today is Passover, and Passover is so much connected with the liberation of slavery of the Jewish population. In and of course, when we look at the liberation of slavery, so does this really lead to freedom? And what is freedom? There's so many different ways to look at this. So is there a difference between liberation and freedom? Because we are so often confused between liberation and freedom. We want to be liberated, sometimes from our government. We want to be liberated from all the responsibility and the pressure from our work. Then we are free. When we have a holiday or a weekend, we say we got a free weekend. We are free. We are free from all the obligations. And again, we are not really talking about freedom. When we move to the depth of freedom, or when I talk about freedom, I'm talking about the sensation, about the feeling, about the non-dual quality. And like all non-dual qualities, there are qualities of our consciousness, qualities of our essence. And nobody can give us this quality. So if we talk about liberation, then liberation is connected with letting go of all the influences which are there, all the contractions which are there between us and ourselves, being able to move into the depth of the experience of freedom, which is part of our build-up. The freedom of being, the freedom of existence, the freedom of expression, the freedom of giving form. Sorry. There are so many different forms which can basically interfere with this feeling of freedom. But the basic form is connected with the difficulty we have with outer authority and sometimes inner authority. The authority has to give us freedom. The authority is telling us what we have to do and what we don't have to do. The authority is telling us how to perform, how to act, how to be. And it is as if we have no choice in this, another non-dual quality. Because, if we don't do what the authority wants from us, we will lose our job. Or we will lose our social connections, our friendships. So we have to follow the authority. Or we go to prison, maybe. We get rejected. We have no choice. And that's interfering with freedom and is giving us a lot of stress, basically. And of course, when I say this, we all recognize this. So does freedom really exist then? Does freedom exist in a society where we live in? Where things are demanded from us we don't really feel for? Where we are obligated to do things, otherwise we will not survive, without a job, no money, no food, no freedom. We have no choice, and we have no freedom. So, at least for me, when I'm talking like this, life becomes so heavy. Why would you come out of your bed in the mornings? To kind of move from one obligation to another obligation. It's not your life, but basically your life is dictated by others. This is slavery. So we kind of are longing for a liberation from this slavery. And happily, it's Passover. So we don't need to work. We have some free days. But then we have to eat matzah. So we're not completely free. No bread in the shops, at least not in Israel. So obligation, slavery. And of course, that's only one level of slavery we want to be liberated of. And when we have a holiday or some free time, we have to enjoy it. Because we're free. And freedom is so incredibly precious. And so often what is happening, we have a free day and we have a holiday, you don't really feel liberated. It's only 5 days. Or only 7 days. Or only 10 days. Or maybe 3 weeks. And then we have to go back to our job. Or, we have a bunch of children. And then it's a holiday. There's no freedom at all. All the children are at home. You slave yourself through the days. It's better when the children are at school. No freedom. No freedom when it is dependent on outer sources, on outer authorities. And let's move a little bit more to the depth. So, say that we have no obligation. We are completely free to do what we want. We won the lottery. There's millions on our bank account. We are free. Are we really free? Or are we still in conflict with ourselves? What shall I do? What shall I do tomorrow? I cannot be greedy and keep all the money for myself. I have to share. But if I share, I will lose the money and I will lose my freedom. Conflicts, difficulties, not really freedom. And when you look, there's so many inner conflicts. I give a few stupid examples, but there are so many conflicts. I'm not allowed to be insecure. I'm not allowed to be lonely because loneliness is for losers. The big L. I'm not allowed to be angry. I'm not allowed to be sad. I'm not allowed to be fearful. There's so many feelings, emotions, which are bothering us. We rather would get rid of it, would get rid of the pain. We would like to get rid of our irritability, of our fears, especially of our fears. Oh my God, it would be so nice to be got rid of our fears. Then we are free. So we invest a lot of money in courses of Bart and Georgi, or Georgi and Bart, to get rid of our fears, to get rid of our insecurity. And then after you paid the money, you go to a course, and what do they say to you? You cannot get rid of it. You have to integrate it. My God, what a waste of time and money. No liberation, no freedom. And then they tell you, freedom is something from the inside. It is a sense, it is a feeling, it is an attitude. And they tell you freedom comes with responsibility. But responsibility is what brings you to slavery. What a bullshit. So, and you have choice. You always have choice. It's another thing which is connected with this freedom. And it's true. Freedom is an inner sensation to be free. And the first freedom as an inner sensation which comes forward is when we feel liberated from a conflict. Not when we are free of fear, but when we are liberated from the conflict with the fear of the fear. Fear is not allowed. And of course, then anxiety is there on the background all the time. Because fear can come out of every corner. And life is fearful in itself. So when we stop our conflict with fear and we start to integrate fear, that means that we are allowing ourselves to experience fear little bit by little bit. Then at a certain moment, we have a feeling that we're able to contain our fears. There's no fear for fear anymore. It is a feeling, it's a sensation. It's not an authority anymore. And there is a liberation. a liberation from the conflict. And in this liberation from the conflict, we experience freedom. Real freedom. Not freedom from the fear, because now and then we will be fearful. It's part of life. Not liberation from our insecurity. Insecurity is part of our makeup. But a liberation from the inner conflict, the fight. So how is it with outer authorities? Your boss telling you what to do and what not to do. When to be on your work and when to go at home. So again, responsibility plays a role here. So did you choose for this job? And if you didn't choose for this job, maybe you should choose for another job. But so often we chose for a certain job. And in this choice is a certain responsibility to do the job as we feel is fit. And the moment we kind of take the responsibility away from our boss who has to tell us what to do and not to do, and we start to take responsibility for our job, and we recognize that this is our choice, how to work, what to do, then the feeling of freedom is coming forward, the conflict is gone. Then we also have the freedom when people are not happy with how we are performing to say, okay, then maybe it's good to look for another job. Or the freedom when we feel that we're absolutely not happy in the work we are doing to look for something else to express ourselves in. This freedom is always there. But what interferes with it? Fear. Fear that we will not find something else. Fear that we're not good enough. Fear for a change. Fear to take the responsibility over your own life. Fear to say, I don't want to. So in a way, we all feel slaves of our lives, slaves of what we have to do, slaves, although we don't admit it, maybe of our fears, slaves of our insecurity, slaves in a way that we don't move where it's difficult. I cannot go to the bakery because it is too anxious for me. So I better not go. Then we are enslaved in our own anxiety. And then I'm not even talking about addictions. The struggle we have around smoking, smoking pot or smoking cigarettes. And in a way, we want to get rid of it. We want to stop it. We want to stop using so much alcohol. And again, we come into a struggle. And the struggle is killing. We want this glass of wine. No, today I'm not going to drink. Just one sip then. A little bit. No, I will not. And this inner struggle is so unpleasant that in the end, we probably will take this sip or drink this glass of wine. And then another one, because we feel guilty, and another one. to kind of make us feel better. So basically, what I want to show with all these examples and all this story is that the main thing which is interfering with our feeling of freedom is the struggle we have with ourselves. Even if you have a boss out of hell, the struggle you have with yourself to adjust and to have to adjust is interfering with your freedom. Because we have the freedom to say no. We have the freedom to say, I don't want this. I want something else. We have the freedom to make choices. And then what about this? You're the leader of your country is a dictator. And you have no freedom to express yourself, to say what you want. If you say what you really want or you really think, you go to prison. You get punished. If you show your hair, you get killed. So you cannot be free. Is that true? Or is it again a choice? And again, connected with responsibility. I make a choice, and this choice is endangering my life. So I am responsible for the situation. And if the choice is important enough for me, I've got all the freedom to make this choice. If this choice is not important enough for me, I have the freedom not making this choice. It's the conflict which is there. Again, I want it like this, but it's not allowed. It's the conflict with the authority which is limiting our experience of freedom. To make it a little bit more simple, you have the freedom to take your car, to go on the highway, and to drive 180 miles an hour. But probably you have to pay a fine if they catch you. And that's part of your choice. That's part of the freedom. And why do we have a feeling when we get a knas, when we get a fine? Why do we have the feeling that all our freedom is taken away? It's part of the deal. Again, to do with responsibility. If you take the responsibility to drive so fast, you also have to take the responsibility to pay a fine. So to have to pay a fine not necessarily has to have an impact on your feeling of freedom. It's only when we kind of, are in conflict again with the authority who says, okay, this is not allowed, you get a punishment. That we have a feeling that we lose our freedom. So freedom has nothing to do with that you are able to do whatever you want, however you want. And nobody is interfering with it. That's not freedom, that's an authority complex. Freedom is this precious feeling to be able to stand for your choices to stand for an inner integrity, responsibility based with his choices. And to be free of conflict. To be able to be yourself. And of course, in being yourself, we make choices. Choice to adjust in certain situations and choices not to adjust in situations. And that has no impact on your feeling of freedom. Maybe an impact on your physical freedom. But that's something else. So freedom is a feeling we all are longing for. We all want this feeling of freedom. But most of us are looking for this outside ourselves. We put conditions. I can feel free when. And when we look deeper into these conditions, they're connected with inner conflicts. So just go for the feeling of freedom. Ask yourself, how would freedom act in this situation? How would freedom act in that situation? And this is a highway to move to a state of being, pure being. The freedom to be and not even what you are, because what you are is changing all the time. The freedom to live, the freedom to exist, the freedom to connect, the freedom to express, the freedom to be. That's what it is all about. Okay, I leave it like this. We have a short break. And after the break, there will be a beautiful freedom meditation from Georgi Y. Johnson.
Yay. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Bart will no doubt come soon. I hear him chopping things in the kitchen. Freedom, freedom. So the non-dual freedom in us greets the non-dual freedom in you, all times, everywhere. And let's find ourselves a comfortable position because we can. We're allowed in which to meditate. Oh no. We're back. The internet is freezing a little bit, I notice. So you'll have a lot of peace in the meditation as well as freedom because I won't be interfering. So let's find a comfortable position. We're going to begin to retreat inside into the inner world. And maybe the first movement we can make is to ask ourselves what freedom is to us, what freedom feels like for us. How does freedom feel for you? Where inside yourself do you feel the strongest sense of freedom? And when you find that space where you feel a strong sense of freedom, maybe you can let it widen a little bit. Just let yourself feel those sensations. Allow them. And if you find there's some kind of restriction or condition or limitation, allow yourself to really not care, to get behind that, to get deeper into the source of your existence. The freedom which is right here, right now, able to experience. And perhaps there's a particular place within your heart or your chest area, deep inside, where you can access this knowing of freedom. Deep place, maybe a place from which you were born, out of which you live, to which you will return. And just as you are here in this moment, conscious, aware, maybe you can access the freedom which is within that consciousness. Wherever you are aware, the freedom is there. And because this consciousness is so radically free, it's possible to move your consciousness to your hands, to your physical hands, and to meet the consciousness within your hands. We're becoming conscious of our hands, just as our hands become conscious of us. And empowering this blessing of freedom within the hands. Perhaps we could ask, what would the hands like to do in freedom? How would they need to be? Out of freedom, how would these hands love to experience this world? And notice the freedom within the hands as they experience this world, irrespective of whether or not we notice it now. And now, right here, because we are so radically free, we can allow our conscious awareness to expand until we include the consciousness of both feet, however they are positioned. We are moving with our consciousness now towards and into the feet, and noticing the consciousness of the feet which wakens to meet us. Now the freedom of our consciousness is becoming one with the freedom of the consciousness within our feet. Notice how these physical feet are utterly free to experience being here now with this earth, whether or not we notice it now. How is freedom moving out of and through these feet? And now, because you are so radically free, it's possible to sink with your consciousness deep into the earth beneath you. We're allowing our consciousness to connect with the consciousness of the earth beneath us. The freedom of our consciousness is now becoming one with the freedom and the consciousness of the earth. Whether or not we notice that now. How is the earth experiencing this light of freedom? How is it for the earth to be free? And now, because we are so radically free, it's possible to connect with the sense of smell. We're connecting with the sense of smell by recalling a particular perfume or scent. Or even sampling the scent in the room where you are right now. And the freedom of our consciousness is connecting with the freedom within the sense of smell. How is this quality of freedom affecting your sense of smell? Perhaps a particular scent comes forward, which for you is the scent of freedom. How does freedom smell, the sense of freedom? And as we're following the scent of freedom, it's naturally bringing us to the sense of taste now. Let the freedom of your consciousness connect with the freedom within the sense of taste. You can recall a particular flavor or taste from the past. What it tastes like. You can also taste the air in the room right now or the taste inside your mouth. How does the sense of taste operate through the quality of freedom? Does freedom have a particular flavor for you? What does freedom taste like? How does the freedom of tasting taste freedom? And now, because you are so radically free, perhaps you could connect with your inner sense of sight, just a sense of sight. And perhaps you can invite a particular vibration of light to come forward. A light which for you resonates right now with freedom. The freedom of your consciousness is becoming one with the freedom of your inner sight. How is it to connect with light and darkness and color and shape and form through the quality of freedom? And what would freedom look like in this moment? And can you dare to be free, to enjoy these frequencies of freedom? As freedom is becoming alive now as a frequency of the heart, you might notice it has a life of its own, whether or not we notice that now. And if we were to be touched by freedom right here, right now, somewhere, somehow, maybe we can allow ourselves to experience that. As we're opening up to receive the touch of freedom now. And just as we receive even a faint vibration of freedom, we let ourselves share it through the body, through the air, through the earth, allowing the freedom to be free as it continues to flow wherever it's most needed. Any situation where you feel enslaved or dependent or trapped, allow this freedom to come there and ask, how would freedom be with this? Knowing yourself as a source of freedom now. Let yourself lean back into that source, being free to be free, to be free, to be here right now as freedom. As we coming back into the here and now, this is where we say happy seasons, greetings, things and stuff to everybody or anybody watching us on YouTube, past, present or future. Thank you for joining us. We are actually here every Wednesday night, come rain or shine. And it's lovely to feel the growing, continuous, almost timeless energy which is around this gathering of kindred spirits. So thank you for joining us, and we'll be back again next Wednesday.